Welcome to another edition of Tilbury Tips. As you can see, I am pregnant and I'm going to share with you some of the tips on how to look good during your pregnancy and after, which is crucial. How to look good and glowing with first pictures with baby. I would say I am definitely one for put a little bit of makeup on. Don't do that kind of first shot where you haven't got any makeup on, even if it's just a little kind of, a little bit of Wonder Glow or a little bit of cream, a little bit of pretty blush, a stick of lipstick, a little bit of colour chameleon around your eyes, just to give yourself a little bit of definition, because after having had a baby you do feel quite drained, a lot of the colour washes from your face, so just putting a little bit of makeup on makes a huge difference. Also, all about camera angle, always shoot slightly from above, as it will make you look fresher and younger. It will also make you look prettier because it's a much more flattering angle on people's faces. Whenever you shoot from below, all you look is jowlier, more tired, picks up all the crevices on the face. So that is immediately gives you a natural facelift and immediately makes you look younger and fresher. I would also say use a flash, because that immediately cleans up any tiredness under the eyes or any jowliness, because obviously you have been up all night, or however long your labour might have been, you'll definitely be feeling a little rather exhausted. So makeup magic and a camera angle can make you look $1 million with your first baby. While you're pregnant, I would definitely opt for natural options to be on the safe side, but definitely things like AHAs, salicylic acid, peroxide. So people shouldn't really dye their hair when they're pregnant. They shouldn't kind of use anything that's too aggressive on the skin, because also your skin becomes much more reactive during pregnancy, which is why I always really recommend the magic cream. I mean, I have to say, even with myself, as much as I can be in a hotel in New York, and I might be washing my face with a flannel that's had the washing powder that is suddenly my skin's reacting to, the magic cream is immediately soothing. It's great for people with rosacea, because suddenly during pregnancy people can develop rosacea, they can develop acne, they can develop all sorts of things with their skin. Even myself, I've noticed that my skin can become very reactive, so it's super indulgent and very calming and soothing. So the magic cream is a real wonder for that. Also, people's skin can become a little bit dry, patchy, and it's something like the Wonder Glow, which is fantastic. I mean, the Wonder Glow is amazing, before and after pregnancy, because when you get that sort of extremely kind of exhausted look, where you've been up all night feeding your baby at 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning, God knows what, haven't slept all night, basically it's akin to literally you might as well be raving all night, having a big old party, but in fact all you're doing is breastfeeding and kind of looking after your baby. So literally, and I recommend this for people with hangovers. Actually, I used to kind of hand them out at dinner parties, kind of go home with a Wonder Glow because you'll need it tomorrow morning. But it's the same thing. Wonder Glow literally just kind of puts back that gorgeous glow. I call it Giselle in a jar, and it literally kind of lifts your skin and makes you look luminous and glowing. So that's a real kind of, it's a real miracle worker, a total winner. How to avoid looking worn out. I think when you do get tired, immediately everything basically drops. When you see people who are very exhausted, they will naturally, their face will droop more so, and they'll look older, and the colour will drain from their face. So it's almost like quick aging when you're exhausted. And beauty sleep, literally everything lifts back up again, the blood flow goes back into the skin. So a way to cheat that when you are exhausted is to literally give yourself a little bit of a feline flick, because that gives you an immediate eye lift. Use soft, tawny brown, natural colours around your eyes, but to get, again, into your socket, that will kind of open up your eyes. There's an eye cheat eye pencil that I've got, which is a kind of nudie colour, which immediately will open up your eyes. Curl your eyelashes, put mascara on, because that again will act like a bit of a push-up bra to the eyes. Use lots and lots of retoucher underneath. I mean, I literally blanket coverage, because I go very blue, grey, purple underneath the eyes. And certain people can go kind of, in the spectrum, sort of a lot or less sort of darker underneath the eyes. And that really smooths you out, and it creates, it's got a lipidic complex in it again, which kind of smooths over lines and makes you look a lot fresher. Then by using a little bit of Film Star Bronze and Glow to just kind of bring in that facial framework and kind of put that candle lit back into the skin, make you look more luminous, a little bit of blush, and sometimes adding a little bit of colour to the lips, will just kind of immediately kind of liven up the face. During pregnancy, we all put on weight, some of us more so than others. My first pregnancy, put on a ton of weight and ended up with a very kind of, I held a lot of water, so very puffy looking, and your face gets a lot rounder. So a great way to kind of kill a cheekbone and cheat the kind of contours back into your face is by using my Film Star Bronze and Glow. And this literally has been created with sculpt and highlight. And then this brush, I stole it from my father's artist studio actually, and it's literally a sculpting brush. It does all the work for you, so no skill needed. And literally, what I say is you kind of, because you do lose any definition, you become very round looking, and sometimes kind of, can end up with a little bit jowly or kind of sagginess around the jaw. You can carve your jaw back in and carve your cheekbones back in. And so the way to do that is look into the mirror and suck in your cheeks like this. And then I say follow the hollow. So dip your sculpting brush into the sculpt shade and then look into the mirror and follow the hollow. And then again, you can do it onto your jawline. I've already got masses on to create a kind of, to give myself a kind of flattering jaw because I have got a little bit of a double chin at the moment. And it immediately makes you look slimmer and younger. You can cheat your kind of way into a better facial framework. For my big hair, I always use a Mason Pearson. I've been literally using a Mason Pearson since I was about 7 years old. I backcomb this bit, I call it the bunny, the sort of 1960s bunny, the back of my head. And that kind of gives me kind of great volume. And while I'm doing that, I backcomb with the Mason Pearson. And then I use the dry texturizing spray by Orbe, which is the most divine scent. And it also is colorless. It acts like a kind of dry shampoo. It's a cross between a dry shampoo and a hairspray, but it kind of doesn't dry your hair out. And it gives you this wonderful volume. And it just is amazing actually, because my hair's incredibly sensitive and I can't really use it. At the minute I put product on it, it becomes lackluster, dry looking, and this somehow works a treat by still making it feel kind of, rock and roll and free and not too done. Then I use, great conditioners by Kerastase, by Mask by L'Oreal that I use. I use a hair oil, which is really fantastic. What keeps my hair and skin looking fabulous are these more DHA fish oils, which are amazing. And they really do make your hair, your nails really grow. I mean, I actually use them when I'm not pregnant, but they're fantastic. They also help the baby's brain develop better. And the Floridats, which is amazing, it also keeps your iron levels up, and I also use it when I'm not pregnant. So these are really two kind of fantastic products. I also take vitamin Bs and lots of different vitamins, and I think it really helps. So if you've got really dry skin when you're pregnant, I sometimes when I would come off airplanes would be feeling really dry. I would use my Multi-Miracle Balm. It's an SOS balm and also a mask. So if you put this, go to bed with it on a full face at night and then wake up the next morning and any kind of dryness should have totally disappeared. It's great also on dry cuticles or heels or elbows, anywhere that needs a kind of extra soaking of kind of lush cream. This is really fantastic for that. Also, some of my gay friends put it all over their bodies and look divine. And the magic cream also then, top off the magic cream every single day is incredibly rich, but it really, the thing about the magic cream is it's very rich, but it kind of immediately starts into your skin, so you shouldn't really kind of develop dry skin. These two products are real miracle workers for that. So hyperpigmentation is something that really, during pregnancy, you develop more melanin than normal, and so people can end up with, with kind of sort of almost as if they put a kind of brown lip line around their mouth, or suddenly they'll get kind of brown patches on their skin. And really, what you must do the minute you get pregnant, especially if you're in a hot climate, is really immediately put quite a high factor on, which I think people should wear all the time anyway, because the sun literally is beauty suicide. And so if you do and are unfortunate enough to get some of these hyperpigmentation marks, then my suggestion is by using a foundation. So my Light Wonder foundation is really miraculous like that, because you don't look like you're wearing foundation, yet it gives you this kind of gorgeous glow because it has a natural alternative to retinol in it, and at the same time gives you this kind of wonderful coverage. And then targeted areas with the retoucher. So I called this pen the retoucher specifically so that you could almost, like the retouching magic pen of photographers, you could just go onto an age spot or a bit of hyperpigmentation and literally rub it out like a rubber, and then seal it with a little bit of powder. And no matter what climate you're in, that should absolutely magic away any hyperpigmentation. So how to prevent hideous stretch marks during pregnancy? Basically, you have to lather yourself in oil and cream every single morning and every single night. It is a discipline, but I'm telling you, it absolutely works. If you want to avoid getting one stretch mark, and no matter how much weight you put on, it doesn't really matter. It's a bit like a hide, where you kind of, the more oil you rub on it, it sort of gives the skin the elasticity to be able to stretch out and then stretch back without it tearing. Because stretch marks basically are tears when you kind of grow too big too quickly, and then suddenly the skin can't cope, so it tears. And that just allows the elasticity on the skin to stop it from tearing. So it's incredibly important. I also put on a huge amount of weight in my first pregnancy, and I didn't get one stretch mark. And it's because I lathered myself in these fabulous products. The Mamma Mia products, the tummy oil is amazing. The boob tube creams are fantastic to keep the bosoms up and looking perky and fabulous. But literally it's a discipline of doing it every morning and every night, and you shall not get a stretch mark. And my ultimate tip is literally live in a bra. Sleep in it, wake up in it, never get out of it. That's all I'm saying.